I knew someone who just did runners. She was the PT, physical therapist for runners. That was her specialty. She helped runners run better with less injuries, and she helped them recover better. And guess what? She knew about every fun run and thing in there, and she just worked the 5K, 10K marathon circuit. She was luckily in a place in Southern California where they have tons of those. But she plugged into all of those, and guess what? Doing bang up business.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, Coach's Corner Edition. Ready to boost your practice by 10,000 in just 10 minutes? Join your coaches, Jennifer and Tracey, for fast and proven strategies that drive real results. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, where we take regular clinic owners and we turn them into super clinic owners. Today, you have your Coach's Corner hosts, Jennifer Gligoric and Tracey Sundkvist. She is also a neuroscience expert and a fellow consultant and coach like me. And we're going to help you add $10,000 to your business in 10 minutes. And today, we're going to talk about content localization, why your niche matters. Tracey.
The best way that I can think of this is I used to binge watch Gordon Ramsay in those restaurant, his restaurant makeovers. Yeah. And the one of the biggest common denominators that I saw while watching that was that the restaurant owners would have too many items on their menu. From, seafood to steaks to, Mexican food, Oriental food, they would try to cover too many bases. And when you do that, you are doomed to suck at all of it, or at least not excel at any of it. So I think when we're talking about localization, we're talking about specializing in a niche that you can become the best at. And the more clearly you can define what is your special menu items, the easier it's going to be for you to be able to repeat success in that space.
Yeah, I always think about people who want to say, well, what about Denny's? What about Cheesecake Factory? They have everything, right? And yes, but these are huge, massive chains, and they have everything after they figured out all of the systems and all the logistics and all the trucking to make it happen. That is not how they started out. They started out very small, either just breakfast or just brunch. And then as they gained and as they absorbed into other companies or took over other companies, they added companies that already had systems and had logistics and had the buyers and the vendors, giving them the food, giving them the different things. They were able to build bigger facilities that have different parts of the kitchen to allow for these different foods and different things to be in there. And the same thing goes with the clinics that we talk to and the service-based businesses. If you can do everything, it gets very confusing. And how do you put an ad for that? We'll do everything for you. Number. Well, who's going to go to that beauty spa if they just want to get their lashes done? They're going to go directly to Lash Bar. We do lashes. We're the best at lashes on the planet. Come in and we will give you lashes. That is a great example of hyper niche that is incredibly successful, and we see them everywhere. Blowout bars. Same thing with healthcare that we've seen. So that would be beauty or med spa, but in healthcare, if you have back sciatic pain and you're looking and you have this one chiro and they're talking about everything, you're like, well, I hope they can help me with this. But then you see an ad. Are you suffering from lower back pain? Which one is going to pay more attention? And then if you're like, oh, okay, well, we'll just do 50 different ads and we'll spend tons of money on totally different ads. And that way we'll get all the people. But what happens is your ads will cannibalize each other. And so instead of having one great ad and being the back pain specialist or being the upper cervical specialist that does vertigo and migraines and, brain fog, right? Now you're lumped in with everyone. And you just can't seem to get that practice off the ground. You don't want to be running 10 different businesses poorly. You want to have one that is running quite successfully. Right?
You hit the nail on the head there, Jennifer. I think, and it's something that business owners need to understand is that For you to run an effective and an efficient business, you need to specialize. And if you think of, even if you think in healthcare, if you go to a general practitioner who is kind of the cover all bases and you allocate a price point to that, this is going to be completely different to a neurosurgeon. So you need to understand, okay, well, do I want to be the GP where I see to absolutely everybody, but then all I am is a production line, right? It's literally the model is how do I get the most amount of people into this business so that I can get out of the business what I need, rather than being a neurosurgeon, in which case your skills are so highly in demand that you are able to service a very few, volume-wise, less people, but then charge more because of that area of expertise. Now, it's about thinking how effective and efficient are you at running a business? Because generally, if you don't have all of your ducks in a row, if you don't know how to make systems work, if you don't know how to leverage on networks and cooperations with other businesses, if you aren't very, very good at business, going the general way is going to result in bleeding money. Right? It's ineffective. It's inefficient. The more you're able to specialize according to what you're very good at, the more specialized you become, the more you can charge, and the more effective and efficient your business, your practice can be.
Yes, and this doesn't mean it's going to end up like that. We all know, we see very successful clinics that have many different specialties in the clinic, right? But the most successful ones that do it started out with one person doing one specific thing, then adding on another doc, and their specialty was something different. That, when they approach it as two different businesses, and well, you're going to be talking to Dr. So-and-so. Usually that doctor has his own assistant who is also the one doing the booking. She's answering the phone calls to it. After a while, you get the switchboard for who are you calling about? And they're very good at determining which one of the things. Do we take you to physio? Do we take you to the naturopath? Are you for a consultant? Are you here just for massage? Are you here for chiropractic? Are you specifically for decompression? And they do tons of training with that person to be able to get them into the right funnel based on what, how they came to be. And sometimes the ad that they said is not where they end up, because where they end up is a higher core offer, but that's actually where they need to be. And so that person is the biggest moneymaker because they're the ones that are putting them into the right funnels, but they're different parts of the business. They look at them differently. And the owner of that business has all these different dashboards to look at. They become very different. They're not stuck in fulfillment. So if you're still in fulfillment with what you're doing, then you need to start out and get a powerful systems in place for the niche that you have and really specialize with your content and with the localization for your content. Another thing I want to talk about is, well, how do you do that in my area? What's another way I can localize content too? Talk about where you actually live. So if you are in a huge place, like let's say New York City, right? You're not going to advertise as the chiro for New York City. That would be just insane. You're just going to be wasting your ad dollars. So you're going to think about what neighborhood. You're going to think West Gramercy Park, Lower Soho beyond Fifth Street, where the person to go, or wherever that is, where the person to go. And well, if you're in a smaller town, you're going to think about it differently. You're going to think about a 7-mile radius around you is generally where you'd start in non-huge urban high density areas. And there's a lot of, different rules for that, but think about promoting events that are happening in your neighborhood or the town. If you have, a lock on your little town, think about fun runs. Is it May Day or the Strawberry Festival or, any of those things to talk about, and then see what you do can tie in. I knew someone who just did runners. She was the PT, physical therapist for runners. That was her specialty. She helped runners run better with less injuries, and she helped them recover better. And guess what? She knew about every fun run and thing in there, and she just worked the 5K, 10K marathon circuit. She was luckily in a place in Southern California where they have tons of those. But she plugged into all of those, and guess what? Doing bang up business. From working with another PT, doing a little bit of everything, to going, should I even specialize with that? finally getting her place. And now she's like living the dream. So yeah, those are different ways that you can have content localization. And it's just very important to pick your lane and just be really, really good at it. You're going to make a lot more money if you do it that way. Anything you want to add before we go?
It really is about keeping it simple, stupid. You don't want too many moving parts, because too many moving parts can distract you from what is important. And the more simple and clearly defined something can be, the easier it is to make that work for you. And then also to see where you're going off course, or, when you really are on track. So we're all about keeping it simple, stupid. I've never, through the course of my consulting with medical service-based businesses, I have never, ever come across a business owner who, by the time they get to me, when they want to get to the next level, have thought, well, it's going to be about adding. It's going to be about adding yet another component. Usually, you can have a look at what's working, what's not working, but adding without looking at, okay, well, what's no longer relevant? It's a case of being in flow. You're not just going to keep adding and adding and adding. It doesn't work like that. So to stay relevant, if you want to add something, also understand, okay, well, what is not working? What is not profitable? What is actually not adding value anymore to the people that I serve? So it's not just a case of putting on. It's also a case of looking at, okay, so what do I need to take away?
Yeah, absolutely. And it also helps you be an expert, and it also helps you have authority in business and with the clients that you're talking to. Sure, they may want to go across the street for something else, but if they have lower back pain, they're going to be coming to you for that. So you need to make sure that when we talk about niche, it only helps you build your brand, and it only helps you build your authority. But we actually went a little past our 10 minutes, but guys, that's how you can add more value to your business. 10,000 in 10 minutes. Please like, follow, and share our Super Clinic Project Coaches Corner, and give us that 5-star review. It helps us to continue to help you. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to the Super Clinic Project Podcast, Coaches Corner Edition. If you would like to work with Jennifer or Tracey to 2 or 10x your business, then go to superclinicproject.com and click on either Jennifer or Tracey's photograph to book a complimentary session. Your greatest breakthrough is just a session away.